In the wake of Liverpool's win over Manchester City and tremendous form from Chelsea and Leicester, do we now have a four-way fight for the Premier League title? Liverpool way out in front. Congratulations, first and foremost, Stevie. Great result of the weekend for your boys.
All bad.
Good results elsewhere as well. But Leicester and Chelsea, are they now in the mix?
I don't think so. Listen, before this game, this was labelled the decider in the Premier League for the two teams that we all said that would be streets ahead of everybody else. They may not be streets ahead, but they're certainly ahead. Listen, as well as Chelsea and Leicester are doing, I don't think you can say that either of those two are title contenders. For me, it's still a two-horse race, probably more of a one-horse race than two, but if there's anybody else in the mix, it's still got to be City and not Leicester and Chelsea.
Why is that primarily? Because of just the inexperience, the lack of depth in the squad?
Well, I think Leicester's a surprise that they're doing so well. We figured they were a good attacking side. Chelsea, on the other hand, I think defensively they'll lose too many goals. You know, when you have to score 3 to win a game week in and week out, because I think they're susceptible at the back, no question. Then for me that puts them out of the hunt. Leicester, with any sort of injuries, particularly to Vardy up front, if Vardy gets injured, they've got nothing to replace him with. So it's a two-horse race for me. I don't think it is a four-horse race, and I'm a little surprised that people are talking that way after City losing, because no question, they wouldn't be saying that had City won this game against Liverpool.
City will play Chelsea next. Is there any chance, do you think, after the international break, if Chelsea come away with the points there, that you would change your mind and suddenly start thinking about Chelsea as opposed to City with a slump in mind for City?
Listen, things will happen during the season that will dictate our thoughts. But right now, City have lost to the best team in the Premier League. And so to now say that they won't be finishing second, I think is a little harsh. Any team that plays against City is going to have to defend for their lives. Manchester City got 18 shots at Anfield and only 3 on target because of the way Liverpool defended. There's not another defensive unit in the Premier League as good as Liverpool. Leicester's has been solid, but I think could be vulnerable. Chelsea, they definitely have been vulnerable. You know, they've got Tomori, who's inexperienced, as good as he's been, and Kurt Zuma. So I think they definitely will lose goals. City, on the other hand, you could argue will also lose goals because defensively there are question marks, but they will score so many goals going forward that the majority of the time that will negate the problems they have defensively. So listen, it's good that people think that there may be a four-horse race. Unfortunately, I don't tend to believe there is.
Let's just finish off talking about Liverpool. Do you think there's a switch that's happened inside the dressing room after that result, just in terms of how they now feel? Will they feel absolutely unbeatable?
No. Listen, they've lost 1 game in the last 50 Premier League games. That tells you that they already have a mentality. I think the biggest factor is winning the Champions League. I think they always knew and always figured they were good. But when you get a title like that, there's something changes inside you. You do think every time you step on the field, regardless of who you're against, you're going to win. And I think that's what we saw at the weekend. We saw a team who were willing to sit tight against a team that they respected and knew could give them problems, but then went about it in a particularly great professional fashion and showed quality and won the game, and rightly so.
Okay, so Chelsea and Leicester may have their tails up at the moment. Manchester City have an awful lot of work to do. All 3 of them have a tremendous job on their hands trying to catch Liverpool, who at the moment seem unbeatable.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.